Hey everybody, what's going on? Jeff Rieger, another episode of the Daily Ticket. This one for Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. The hair does not look good when it's wet either, does it? I'm getting closer and closer to the decision. Zip. I'm going to do it on the show. All you people tell me to do it. That's the most comments I get out of anything I talk about or say. All you ever say is shave the head. So I'm going to do it. And if I look bad, I blame you. You got to buy me a wig or Rogaine. I think my head is decently shaped, though, I must say. So maybe next week I'll have a date with the Clippers. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Do you know that tomorrow we get to see Patrick Kane debut for the Red Wings against the San Jose Sharks? That's going to be pretty kick-ass, I got to believe. Little Caesars Arena is going to be bumping. It's going to be sweet. A lot going on in sports. Pistons, as of the taping of this broadcast, have still not won in 17 tries. The Wings, pretty good. Michigan State basketball playing Big Ten play for a couple games before they go back to the non-con. Then, of course, there's the Lions. We've talked about them a lot, and we'll continue to talk about them. But I wanted to bring something up that I don't know if anybody's thought about. Like, yeah, you thought about it. I know you thought about it, but I don't know if you really thought about it. With Michigan being in the CFP, the number one ranked team in America, all anybody is focused on is, oh, did Florida State get screwed? And, oh, can Michigan beat Bama? And, oh, Saban's going to have a whole month to prepare for that Wolverines offense and blah, blah, blah. Anybody talk about the elephant in the room, though? Anybody talk about the fact that this legitimately could be it for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan? It was almost it for Jim Harbaugh the last 2 years. 2 years ago, he had his sad hamburger after the Vikings didn't take him, or he didn't take the Vikings, however that story goes. And then last year, the Broncos did want him. I think he wanted to come back and coach this team, and for good reason. They're pretty damn good. So he turned down the Denver Broncos, and they ended up going with Sean Payton instead. But now, Wolverines could be on the precipice of a championship. Does Harbaugh only have 1 or 2 games remaining as the Wolverines head coach? Here's what we know. He likes coaching at Michigan. As of yesterday, I see all kinds of rumblings on the paid Michigan sites that a new contract is in the works, but I haven't seen any actual evidence of it. It'd be kind of a weird to give him a new contract after the whole cheating scandal. That's the other thing. Is he going to be allowed to coach next year? Some people say yes. Some people say, oh, no. NCAA is going to suspend them for a very long time. The other thing, too, is if he wins a natty, couldn't you see him riding off into the sunset? Even if he doesn't win a natty. He's almost gone to the league the last 2 years. Maybe this is the year. Harbaugh's 44-19-1 in the NFL. He went to a Super Bowl against his brother, and he lost. He's a great coach. Not a good, but a great coach. And the only problem with Jim Harbaugh is he eventually rubs everybody the wrong way. He's been at Michigan the longest he's ever been anywhere. And it would be nice for him to retire a Wolverine. I understand he pushes the envelope. I understand he doesn't necessarily run the cleanest of programs. I don't really care. I like winning. You like winning. You like Jim Harbaugh if you're a Wolverine. You want him to stick around as long as possible. You want a lifetime contract. I don't blame you. You should. He should. Will he stay, though? I don't know. Harbaugh turns 60 on the 23rd of this month, meaning he's still relatively young. Okay? Why I think this year is different than last year is because there's so many jobs in the NFL open. Like, my God, have you looked at what jobs are or will be open by the time Harbaugh is ready to potentially take one of them? The other thing, too, by the way, is NFL will be there. Harbaugh could convince J.J. McCarthy to come back to college. He should come back, if we're being completely honest. The quarterback class for the NFL draft is so deep. I think J.J. should come back to Michigan, make more millions from NIL, try to win a championship again. Maybe that's 2 titles in a row. And we know that Jim loves J.J. Jim could come back to Michigan. get JJ to come back to Michigan, and they can do it again. They can run it back, as the kids like to say. And yeah, there's going to be additions of Washington, USC, UCLA, and Oregon, but who cares? Have you seen what's going on at Ohio State? As of yesterday, they got 12 dudes in the transfer portal, including Kyle McCord, their quarterback, who, by the way, lost one game and threw for 3,000 yards. Harbaugh could easily come back to Michigan, suit it up again. He might be suspended. So what? He was suspended this year. And try to win another natty, try to win another Big Ten. Or this might be the year because there's so many jobs available. And there's uncertainty with him too. What's the NCAA going to do? So here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to offer you the jobs out there. And I wanted to tell you if I think Jim's going to take them or not. And I'm just curious what you think. You think Harbaugh's going to bolt for the NFL? We did hear that report early on in this scandal that the NFL and its owners are not going to give Jim a job because they want him to stay in college football and deal with the mess. I don't believe that for a second. Let's go back to the first point. Jim is 44-19-1 in the NFL. NFL owners care about one thing, money. How do you get money? You win. That's the second thing they care about. So if they believe Jim Harbaugh can cure them, then Jim Harbaugh will cure them. But it's not just me talking about this. 2 days in a row, I'm watching ESPN. Mike Greenberg went on the Pat McAfee show. Take a listen to this comment, which, by the way, made me think about talking about Jim Harbaugh to begin with. Here's Mike Greenberg on the Pat McAfee show about Jim Harbaugh.
We were at a funeral about a year and a half ago.
Rest in peace, rest in peace.
Thank you very much. Thoughts and prayers. And it was just a mutual friend of ours who died. And we got to talking. Now, I want to make it very clear. We were not talking about a coaching vacancy. We were not talking about him leaving Michigan. Nothing. We were just talking about how great the young quarterback play is in the National Football League. All these great young quarterbacks, Burrow, Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. He spent 5 minutes telling me that he thinks that Justin Herbert is the best of all of them. He loves Herbert. Take that for what you will. I do not think that Harbaugh will be back at Michigan next year. We were at
So Greenberg, I have no idea how locked in he is or isn't locked in, but he doesn't think Harbaugh is going to be back in Michigan, and I actually agree with him. Not to mention, the Chargers are 5-7. They've lost their last two games. There's no question they're going to fire Brandon Staley. It would take a miracle for Staley to keep his job. Jim spent the last 2 years of his career with the Chargers. That was in San Diego. He started his coaching career in San Diego as well. Rumor has it he's got affinity for Southern California. And Mike Greenberg just told you he loves the Chargers QB, Justin Herbert. Does Jim Harbaugh know what to do with QBs? I think the answer is probably yes. Now, the only downside about the Chargers, the only reason why it might not happen, are the owners, Dean and John Spanos. They don't like baggage. They don't like a media circus. And that's what Jim would be. We know what Harbaugh has done at Michigan, what everybody talks about. And we also know how Harbaugh left the 49ers. That was a ridiculous situation as well, fighting with the GM. So I don't know if the Spanoses would hire Jim Harbaugh, but I got to tell you, he would help them immensely. He's a program builder. He'd already have his quarterback. Chargers could be an option. Second option out there. What about the Raiders? The Raiders already fired their head coach. Josh McDaniels. Antonio Pierce is now the interim coach. They're 2-2, by the way, since getting the axe to Josh McDaniels. It was actually after a loss to the Lions on Monday Night Football. Tony Pauline, an NFL draft analyst, says the Raiders have massive interest in Harbaugh. And apparently, Mark Davis, the owner, and Harbaugh have a great relationship. Mark Davis, does he like the metal? Maybe a little bit. But Harbaugh should get personnel decisions. Hell, he's given everybody else personnel decisions. Why not Harbaugh? Raiders could be an option. Now, They will have a high draft pick. They don't have a quarterback. Their QB is Aiden O'Connell. Harbaugh could go there and obviously draft a quarterback, live in Sin City, and away we go. Now, I'll tell you what it said in a couple articles that I read. Mark Davis seems to maybe like more player-friendly coaches. Considering Jim Harbaugh rubs everybody the wrong way, including his players after a certain amount of time, maybe Harbaugh isn't the choice in the desert. But the Raiders are looking for a head coach. Now, maybe they give it to Antonio Pierce. Players seem to love that guy. But the Raiders, another possibility. How about this one? Would Harbaugh want to go to the Panthers? They just fired a guy. They didn't even give him a full year. Frank Reich, see ya. They do have Bryce Young, though. Bryce Young, the first overall pick in the draft from Alabama. You think Harbaugh wants to work with Bryce Young? He might. Does he want to work for David Tepper, the owner? Tepper and Harbaugh are both mercurial. I had to look that word up. Mercurial means a person subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. Sounds like Tepper, NFL owner, of course. Sounds like Jim Harbaugh as well. I don't see this one. The Panthers are horrendous. They lack talent. I don't know if he, talking about Harbaugh, likes Bryce Young. I don't know. You want to work for a guy like Tepper, who wants to win so bad he might be willing to whack you after 12 games. Jonathan Jones from CBS reporting that Harbaugh is a candidate for the gig. Apparently, Harbaugh was in touch with Tepper and the Panthers last season as well. But they decided not to go with Harbaugh after the Matt Rule experience, and they gave Matt Rule all kinds of player personnel decisions. Did not work out. Now they might be ready to give Jim Harbaugh the same type of deal, but they weren't ready last year. Could the Panthers be a possibility for Jimmy? I ask you. I got a couple more for you. This one makes the most sense, and I don't know why I didn't write it down. But it's the Bears. The Bears, I gotta believe, are gonna fire Eberflus. The Bears are a great situation for Jim. He played there. Captain comeback, right? He likes the owners, the McCaskies. And more than anything, not only do they have some money under the cap, but man, oh man, oh man, do they have talent. Eberflus has done a nice job building the defense. I don't know if they fire him, but you got to believe they fire him. He recently, Eberflus, spoke at a press conference admitting that he hears people calling for his job, that he feels the pressure. Will the team get rid of Ryan Poles, the GM, as well? Could they give everything to the Jim Harbaugh? Diana Rossini from The Athletic saying there's interest from the Bears. Now, here's where it could get crazy. Here's why I think the Bears make perfect sense. They already have Justin Fields. Harbaugh could decide if Fields is the guy. If not, they ship Fields out of town. They get Carolina's pick, which is going to be the first pick of the draft. They can draft Caleb Williams. They could draft Drake May. They can draft any quarterback they see fit and have Jim Harbaugh work with said QB. They got a good offense already, or at least good offensive pieces. And they got a decent defense. Or the other thing, our afternoon show talked about this. Rico and Mike, what if Jim takes the Bears job and then he drafts J.J. McCarthy? And you wouldn't have to draft J.J. early in the first round. You're not taking J.J. with your first overall pick. But J.J. McCarthy to the Windy Cindy under the tutelage of Jim Harbaugh. Now that, my friends, is drama. That would be interesting. Good relationship with Bears ownership. Money under the cap. Oh, my, oh, my. Could you imagine Harbaugh versus Campbell in the NFC North? Now, that's drama. I think he's leaving. I think he's got to leave. There's so many jobs open. I got one more for you. How about this team? The Patriots. They're going to fire Belichick. They need a program builder. That's Jim Harbaugh. They need an overhaul. And you know, Robert Kraft, not only will he dole out the money, the owner of the Patriots, but he needs to make a splash after Belichick. And Robert Kraft stays the fuck out of the way. He does. Robert Kraft does not meddle at all. He's not like these other owners like David Tepper that has always got his nose in operations. Oh, no, 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 no. Kraft is probably out of a massage parlor. I'm sorry, that was a cheap shot, but it's probably true, right? Kraft has other things on his mind. He will give the money to Harbaugh. Harbaugh will run the show. And you got to believe he'd be the perfect fit for that gig. He would draft a quarterback. He would develop a quarterback. And away we go. SI's Albert Breer already reports that if Belichick is fired, then Jared Mayo, the inside linebackers coach, is the front runner for the gig. And I don't know a whole lot about Jared Mayo, but I can tell you the Patriot way seems like it's dead. It died when Brady left. And you know what? Jim Harbaugh could fix it. That's the thing. Harbaugh is such a good coach. He might be a pain in the ass, but he's a good coach. And at least for a little bit, it's going to work anywhere. Don't you get that feeling? Is that everybody? Did I miss somebody? Oh, yeah, I got one more for you. How about the Commanders? Commanders have a new owner, Josh Harris. If he wants fans to forget about the Daniel Snyder era, he makes a move. He needs a splash. Ron Rivera, see ya. Commanders have a ton of talent. Sam Howell has flash. Harbaugh could fix him. They got Terry McLaurin. They got Deron Payne. They got Jonathan Allen. They got Brian Robinson. But more than anything, they got over $85 million in cap space. Harbaugh could go to the historic Commanders. Build that program back. You got a bunch of rabid fans that are dying for just a little bit of success. I think the Commanders could be a possibility. And if he doesn't like Sam Howell talking about Jim Harbaugh, he could go out and draft a quarterback. That could be intriguing. So what do you think? Does Jim Harbaugh leave Michigan? And if so, where does he go? I feel he leaves for two reasons. Number one, I think he's going to want to tell the NCAA to fuck off. That's what I think he's going to want to do. And if they want to suspend him, which they're going to go after him, I guarantee you Harbaugh is going to be like, see ya, it's been fun, goodbye. The other thing, he's flirted with the NFL the last 2 years. This could be the year where A, people realize how good he is, how worthwhile he is, and B, like I've already illustrated, there's so many jobs available. What about the Jets? Does Robert Saleh stay in the Big Apple? Probably, not quite sure. Or what about the Bills? What if the Bills underachieve again? Is Sean McDermott out? Could you imagine Jim Harbaugh coaching Josh Allen? So is this Jim Harbaugh's second to last or last game at Michigan? The one coming up on New Year's Day against Crimson Tide and Alabama. What do you think? I think it is. I think he's gone. I have no proof. You have no proof. If you get mad at me for saying he's gone, then you got no right to be mad at me because it's just my opinion. There's so many opportunities out there. The rumors continue and continue and continue and continue. I got to believe this is the year that Jimmy makes the switch. Unless he convinces JJ to stick around and he tries to run it back and win the Big Ten again. What do you think? Let me know. Please. I figured we'd get this podcast out of the way. By the way, I got a couple potential huge guests coming on the Daily Ticket. So look out for that. I'm very excited. Let's get to some comments, shall we? Before we say goodbye to everybody. So usually I read comments from various podcasts that I do, and you're all very nice to leave comments on YouTube and other places that you get the podcast. Please, by the way, download, review, rate. But here's some ratings and reviews I got actually on, this is from Apple Podcast. Let's read a good one. This one is from Tori J0427. Says, Jeff, you make me laugh and smile every time I listen to your show. I walk my dog listening to your podcast, and I find myself laughing out loud constantly. Keep up the great work. Tori in Chesterfield. That's very nice. How about this one? This one is from Tron C's Legacy and Cousins. Thanks for the awesome start to my day. Living out of state for years. So grateful for the connection to all my favorite teams. How about that? I got one more good one. Oh. This one from Great Debt Sports Pod, but Dot, 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 dot. Rieger is one of Detroit's best. Has the guts to ask the tough questions. I enjoy listening to his new pod. However, Rieger usually focuses on one topic. Let's add a short daily news update portion, just 5 minutes on the top sports news story of the day. I could do that. It's a good idea. And let's get to the bad comment, because with every good comment, we got bad comments. This one is from Boost Fan. It's titled, Can't Take It Anymore. This one says, ooh, and he only rated me a 1 star. This show was okay at first, but I can't take it anymore. He presents his one-sided thoughts, pretends to provide the other side, but doesn't. Sorry, Jeff. Maybe pull, oh my. Let me try this again. This gets very mean. Sorry, Jeff. Maybe pull Valente's hand out of your backside and stop being his puppet. That's what you're upset about? I only give one side? It's my opinion. Feel free to comment and argue. Hell, reach out to me. I'll put you on the daily ticket. We can argue. I can have guests. It's weird. Anyway, that's the daily ticket for today. Let me know, is Harbaugh gone or does he stay? It's like that old song. Does he stay or does he go? No. Anyway, I apologize for singing. All right, we'll catch you tomorrow on a Thursday on the Daily Ticket, potentially this week. Stoney goes against the Ticket Trivia Champion. Also, potentially, I hope maybe tomorrow or even on Friday, a huge ticket guest. Big. We're talking massive. So, hoping to lock out that down. I don't want to give a name just yet because it's not official just yet. So, all right, we'll catch you tomorrow on a Thursday. Comment, please. Let me know. What do you think about Jimmy Harbaugh? Is this it for him in Michigan? Sure seems that way, doesn't it? Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.